Yeah, hope my
Yes.
voice is loud and clear. Yeah, great then. So, guys, we are starting a Ariba session now. Okay, so as all of you know, we are into this Ariba session since almost 7 to 8 years. We have been training a lot of professionals in SAP Ariba. Okay, almost we have trained approximately, I can say, around 4,000 our professionals here. So all of them are well placed and working in a very good MNCs as well. So this training goal is basically we are covering everything in detail with respect to hands-on very properly. We are covering all the scenarios over here. Okay, so hope this session is going to give you a lot of insight. And just I'll tell you a little about Manish. Manish is having more than 18, 19 years of experience, all procurement side. Okay, he worked in SAP SRM, and since last 10 years he's working in SAP Ariba. He's a solution architect right now. Okay, so hope this session is going to give you a clear insight of what is SAP Ariba, how is it going to be beneficial for your career growth and all. Okay, Manish, over to you. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Haraj. And thanks for the intro as well. Guys, give me a second. I'm going to screen share and we'll
No
get
problem.
started.
Thank you. Yes, sure. So, guys,
Haraj, you were saying something? You guys can see my screen. It's a Word document. Great. Okay. That's awesome.
yeah,
Thanks
Manish.
for confirming. Yep.
Yeah, I was saying to everyone, like, I request everyone to be on mute so that we can clearly understand what you are teaching over here. Okay, so at the end of the session, we are going to take up the question answers, so that would be more easier. And everyone will be, if you are having any questions in between, you can make a note separately. Later on, we'll be giving chance to ask the questions from your end. Okay, hope you can coordinate. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for your coordination, guys.
Okay, so we are learning about SAP Ariba, right? This training is going to have a number of sessions. Today is just an intro, just to introduce to you guys what Ariba is all about, right? Um, so what is SAP Ariba, right? So that's what we'll try to understand. What is SAP Ariba? That's the first question we should try to understand. Answer. It is an e-procurement solution, right? Provided by SAP. What is e-procurement? E-procurement is procurement that is done by a solution on the cloud. That's what we mean by e-procurement here. So all in nutshell, it is a cloud-based procurement solution. We all understand what cloud-based means, right? But for those who don't, cloud-based means there is no need to maintain hardware, no need to maintain servers. It's a subscription-based model. Clients who implement SAP Ariba, they will go through a reasonably long project, right? However, they will not own the site or the servers in which Ariba is installed, right? They will instead pay for it on a subscription basis, number of licenses, number of users, number of transactions. Depending upon the module, it varies what subscription model is used, right? So key points about this: the servers are not owned by the client who implements SAP Ariba. Instead, client pays for the usage. I think it is a pretty common model these days. It's not something which is very, very new right now. There's a lot of other tools out there of different kinds which give this particular type of functionality being cloud-based or subscription-based. The key point is SAP owns it. SAP is a pretty big company, if all of us know, right? All of us probably know about SAP more or less. And it being an SAP product, there is a good market for it, right? Because SAP, when they implement their solution, um, which is their ERP system, there are particular use cases for which SAP Ariba e-procurement solution is augmenting, or you can say supplementing what SAP does, right? Certain things which SAP cannot do, or certain things which SAP cannot do as nicely on the procurement side, that's where the solution of SAP Ariba comes in. So why SAP Ariba? When a client has an option, or let's say SAP S/4HANA solution, which has a very mature MM module. If we understand this, we will understand, why it makes sense to learn Ariba, why clients implement Ariba. Right? Certain functionalities in SAP are not mature enough to support certain procurement processes. What are these processes? Let's just try to note them down. Strategic sourcing, for which Ariba has a strategic sourcing module or sourcing module. Contract management, for which Ariba has a contract management module, or just let's just call it contracts module. Supplier management, for which Ariba has SLP module, and casual purchase requisitioning, which also involves roles, for which Ariba has buying and guided buying module. Guided buying is not a module, it's an interface, but I'm just lumping it together because guided buying goes with buying, right? So you will see there is a bit of overlap in SAP. And also, I know there is a question, Kana. I'll just take a shortcut for your name, Kana. If you could hold on to your questions, we'll just have them all together. Okay. So we noted down a few modules: sourcing, contracts, SLP, guided buying. So these are, you can say, four things or four modules or four solutions which SAP Ariba has, but in which you can say SAP is lacking more or less, right? Hence why it makes sense to implement Ariba for clients. And so naturally, we will cover all these in our training, and we'll try to touch each of these briefly. So now let's talk about what are the, I think I just noted down one point. There is one more point, right? Certain functionalities in SAP are, Ariba has good integration, SAP S/4HANA through the middleware called, um, the name recently changed, CIG. That's the old name, by the way, Cloud Integration. I like this name. The new name is very long, right? There is no acronym for it yet, right? So, firstly, you get all these functionalities in a tool, right? Which is gonna complement what SAP does. Secondly, this tool is gonna work seamlessly with SAP, right? So, which is a big plus point for clients, because if you buy another tool, like let's say not Ariba, there are other e-procurement solutions out there. You buy them, you say you want to use them. Then the question comes, how is that tool gonna work with SAP as for HANA? Right? That's where SAP Ariba stands out. There is a nice middleware which has 30 plus interfaces, uh, to um, mention it very conservatively, right? Which are out of the box. So it's basically plug and play. Right? So this is I would say these are the two main reasons why it makes sense for clients to implement SAP Ariba and why they do. Right? So we learned very, very briefly what is SAP Ariba at a high level. We haven't talked about modules. We learned about why it makes sense to implement SAP Ariba. Now let's learn about what modules SAP Ariba has and which we cover in our training. Actually, right? Otherwise, what's the point of knowing if we are not even going to cover it, right? Just mentioned here, there's a module called sourcing, right? So number one is sourcing module. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write those modules and briefly explain you guys what those modules do, right? And as we progress in our trainings, what we will do is we'll touch each of those modules in a very deep level of detail, right? In which we will understand what are those modules doing in terms of processes, right? So what are those modules doing in terms of functionality? What are those modules? What is the configuration involved in those modules, based on real life examples, right? So we'll cover all those in very, very detailed level. Right now, we're going to look at a very high level so that you guys understand what Ariba is, what solutions it has, or what modules it has. Sourcing module. What does this module do? This module is designed to support the RFX and auctions process within a within a large organization. I would use the word large organization, right? Like for mom and pop shops, it will make no sense to implement Ariba, actually, right? Large organization, large public sector organization, right? Government of India, large retail organization, right? Walmart, right? All those big companies. It will make sense to implement Ariba for doing sourcing because what happens in large companies is when you want to buy something, right? You don't go to a store or a website and you complete your transaction, use your credit card on your shopping cart, and you're done, right? You approach it in a more strategic manner, right? In other words, Ariba supports strategic sourcing, right? It is a key process in B2B, which is what? Business to business. Not talking about B2C. We're not talking about Manish going to Amazon and buying shoes. We're not talking about that, right? We are talking about a large government organization, let's say Government of India, buying 10,000 computers over next 5 years. We're talking about huge volumes, probably complex specs, right? Probably warranties, return policies, many complexities, right? So it's not like you add your 10,000 computers on your cart and you're done, right? Nobody's going to give you those computers without understanding, um, like what's your approach to buy all those, right? So it's complex. That's the main point I want to make, and that's where this module comes in place, right? So, but what is RFX? That's what we are trying to answer. RFX is you are trying to find a source of supply, basically, right? The goal of this module is to find a suitable source of supply for a specific need, as large government organization needs NK laptops of various kinds over next years. This is a great example of a complex B2B procurement, which will start with sourcing, right? So as we look into various modules, we will look into sourcing. It is going to start with RFX process, right? And as we go into other modules, we'll see there is a flow or the overall end-to-end process that is happening in Ariba, right? And for that matter, in various other tools out there, right? Here it is much more detailed, I would say, because of different detailed functionalities in various modules. It supports an end-to-end process of B2B procurement, which starts with sourcing, right? So in this module, the users will create RFX documents. RFX documents, for example, request for proposal, example, sorry, in which number of qualitative content is involved and a number of line items for which pricing is needed is involved. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we'll look into a live example of RFX in which we'll pick a request for proposal. So this one we'll see in the system how it works tomorrow. Um, so this is what sourcing module is all about at a very, very high level, of course, right? Then what is there is contracts module. We said the goal of this module, let me try to maybe make it bold or highlighted. The goal of sourcing module is to find a source of supply, right? So we said that a large government organization has a need of various kinds of laptops, total 10,000 over next 5 years, right? In this case, sourcing is going to tell you you have worked with, let's say, 10 different suppliers in your sourcing module, right? And you had a very complex criteria for evaluation and you have done that. You have concluded that there is a company ABC, right? Let's say it is company ABC. For example, let's assume the outcome of sourcing was that the suitable source of supply, which is nothing but a vendor, by the way, vendor or a supplier, is company ABC. We found that the suitable source of supply is company ABC. The goal is to find a suitable source of supply. Let's say we do certain things in sourcing, right, which we'll see in detail tomorrow, and the outcome of that is company ABC, right? That's our source. Then what next? Are you gonna post on social media like Twitter? This is my company ABC, my best friend. No, that's not the case, right? You're looking into getting into some sort of legal relationship with them, right? So that over next 5 years, which is our goal, to transact with them, things are under control as per our terms, as per their terms, right? And it's called something called procurement contract, right? Or purchasing contract. So that's where this contracts module of Ariba comes in picture. Now, if you guys are from ERP background, you probably know contracts for transactions, right? There is pricing. There are probably some limits at dollar value or quantity value, right? There is that contract. There is no doubt in it. That's there in Ariba as well, which supports it. But there is other contract called a lead, right? So this module supports two things broadly speaking. First is the transactional contract, which I just mentioned. This contract is used for transactional purposes, naturally, because there is line items and everything. It also supports creation of a legal agreement. So when buyers or procurement people talk about contracts, they generally talk about these two combined. I know ERP systems generally are focused on transactional side of things, right? Because they want to support the PRPO process. But when in business function, when people who work in procurement, right? Um, like in this case, large government organization example we took, when they talk about contract, they talk about both things, right? And it is this thing that ERPs mostly lag on: creation of a legal agreement, management of a legal agreement, right? And that's where this contract module comes in. So they will let you, this module will let you manage, create the transaction contract, but also the legal agreement. Okay? So this is a legal contract, the T's and C's of the buying organization and the supplier ABC. That's what contracts module supports. The There is configuration, quite a bit of configuration involved in both, sourcing and in contracts, right? And we will look at them great level of detail as we cover those sessions, right? How Ariba does all this? This is just two words: legal agreement and transactional contract. How Ariba does all this, right? There is a certain way and certain similarities between various modules, sourcing and contracts, and some other modules we'll see. That's because Ariba has its own design, right? The way it is designed. And you guys will notice that as we start learning one module, we'll see similarities between the second and then between the third and so on, right? And we will cover all that in detail, how to configure, um, in detail how the process works in a great level of detail with real life examples, right? So sourcing module, contracts module. So this gave you a source of supply. The goal of this module is to finalize legal slash binding agreement with the supplier ABC, which was identified in sourcing module. Right? So in sourcing module, you found your best friend or your most suitable supplier. In contracts module, you detailed how the two of you are going to work together. You will document the prices, right? You might want to get into more detailed pricing, possibly, right? You will get into terms and conditions of the legal agreement. That's the primary goal of the contracts module. Let's highlight this one. So this is finding source of supply, and this is letting you get in a contract or a legal binding agreement. Of course, there are pricing details as well with the same supplier. You guys see a flow there? Find a source, get into agreement with the source. And this is crucial before you start transacting. Right? Since we're talking about suppliers, right, before we go into the transaction side of things, Ariba SLP module, let's talk about that. This is what? This is the module which is designed to onboard suppliers onto Ariba / SAP so that Ariba processes / SAP processes. So this module is not just for Ariba, by the way. SLP module is also for SAP, or for, I would say, probably mostly SAP. Not, I won't get into other ERP systems, right? SAP module has supplier data, right? What you will do is you will fill some forms, get some data from suppliers, right, in Excel file or over email, and you will what you will do is you'll go to SAP and you will create their supplier, which is now called business partner. Right? SLP module, what it does is it will let you collect that data from the supplier, in which supplier itself fills that data. So which means the supplier is managing their own data, more or less. So it's called self-serve management of supplier data from the supplier side. And you as a client or a buying organization, what you're doing is you're basically looking at the forms and approving, finding any gaps. And there is quite a bit of detailed process which goes beyond it. So goal of SLP module is to onboard. If you guys are confusing with the word onboard, let's say, create suppliers into Ariba and SAP so that Ariba and SAP processes can be supported. And there is much more to it, right? SLP goes beyond supplier creation to supplier management for the entire life cycle of the supplier. It's a very nice module. Um, I think very good demand right now. So are, by the way, the modules, right? This is a very nice module. I mean, whenever Ariba implements, this is just gonna go in there for sure. So we talked about SLP, sourcing, contracts at a high level, what it does. We have suppliers. If you look into the three modules we covered, we said have a source of supply, right? RFX, working with the supplier. Right? In reality, when we look into Ariba, we'll see that in order to work on sourcing and on contracts, you need supplier data. So really, the process is going to start with creating a supplier, which is going to bring SLP modules in the forefront, right? So you will start with the SLP module and then you will do the other processes. But sequentially, I'll explain to you guys later on, right? But it comes before even sourcing in terms of the flow of data. Okay. Supplier lifecycle performance, SLP, sourcing, contracts. There is another module which is, I would say, in a way linked with the SLP module. It's called supplier risk module. Ariba supplier risk module. Not a typical procurement process it supports. It goes slightly beyond procurement, I think, right? It goes into risk management, supplier risk management, right? And was launched with the view that global supply chains, which are long, global organizations, right, which are procuring um, goods globally, right? They don't know what's happening in other parts of the world, right? And there is a lot of data that is available online in different websites. So Riva thought, how about if we leverage the key data sources available online and provide insight to the buying organization, what's happening with their supplier base? That's where this risk module came in picture. There is like, you can see this module looks or processes data from approximately, sorry, 750,000 data sources of various kinds to assign a risk profile to the supplier. Buyer deals with so that there is a clear visibility into the supply chain for a given supplier. Let's take an example. There are two wars happening in the world right now, right? I'm sure there are suppliers there which are being used by different companies across the world. Of course, war is in the news right now, right? News are very high level. They won't go into that level of detail. Uh, which part is impacted more? Which city is impacted, right? Is that city stable? Is that city not stable? So, right. So, but there are other data sources which will look into all that. Some of those are not available to public either. Right? So it is those data sources which Ariba is going to look at and say that at a more detailed level, of course, your supplier is there in, let's say, Israel, right? Um, but it's not close to border. Let's say it's going to say that your supplier is located very far away from the border, other side of the country. There is very little risk, although country risk is high. Just giving an example. So it's going to segment your supplier based on their location. Of course, it's going to look at supplier itself. Right? What if supplier itself is involved in something wrong? Right? And in that case, it's going to give you a view of what the supplier is doing in terms of risk, and it is going to give you risk into different categories. Right? We will look into detail what all those are. So not a typical procurement process, right? Mainly a risk, mainly visibility which it gives you from the risk perspective, right? But again, if you look at all these are what they're doing is these modules are supplementing or helping what other ERPs do. Mostly ERPs are not focused on detailed strategic sourcing, the legal contract management, self-serve supplier management, and risk, right? So these four modules are, you can say, they stand out in terms of the ERPs do not give you functionalities to this level of detail, right? Now, this is about these four modules. There is also two other modules. There is Ariba buying module, which also has guided buying. We said that SAP has a very mature process of procure to pay, ERPO, GR process. So why would somebody implement Ariba buying? They will implement Ariba buying when they are not a big, well, they can still implement, by the way, even if they are big manufacturer. I was going to say big manufacturer. So where Ariba buying module comes in picture is casual procurement. Right? So this module supports casual procurement or indirect procurement. Whereas SAP, for example, suppose direct procurement. Direct procurement is what? When there is inventory management involved, right? When there is forecasting involved, when there is manufacturing involved. Right? Those are examples of direct procurement. Indirect procurement is you buy things, but you're not using them for your manufacturing, right? You're buying goods, but you're using for your internal use, right? Internal use is what? For example, large manufacturer needs supplies for its employees or need janitorial services cleaning their manufacturing facilities. These are some examples. So things which SAP can do. SAP can do these things, by the way. It can help you procure office supplies. There are ways to do there too. It can help you procure janitorial services. So what is the benefit of Ariba? Right? It will help you do in a slightly nicer manner. So whenever there is room for casual procurement, indirect procurement, Ariba stands out because let's put it this way. If SAP can, let's compare it with SAP. SAP can support ER, PO, GR. Why would a client implement Ariba buying? Because of catalog management, because of mature, and when you guys look at approval flows, you will see they are actually very mature as compared to other ERP tools out there. Mature and very flexible approval flows, and greater ability to collaborate, find source of supply. So you can see that buying module helps you do procurement, which is not direct. Right? There is no inventory involved. There is no forecasting involved. And examples are office supplies, janitorial services. Right? And also there is something called guided buying, which is basically UI. So it does same things, but in a much nicer manner. So if let's say I'm a user working in a manufacturing company, right? I need office supplies. Just take an example of office supplies. I have no option to buy office supplies in my company. What will I do? I will probably buy on Amazon, right? Because there are other websites out there which are primarily geared to give you a good experience for shopping and their consumer websites, right? So what Ariba came out with a long time back, of course, is that why don't we give you the same experience internally? Right? So they came up with this option of catalog management, card buying, which consumer websites have, right? But they are for the consumer. So you can say these are internal websites for clients made for the employees of the clients, right? With the data that is used by the client itself, but not by other people outside the organization. So this is a very local consumer website just for the employees of the organization. So this is buying module, guided buying module. And if you look at the flow once again, you first found a supply for 10,000 laptops over the next 5 years. You got into contract with those suppliers. Of course, first you created those suppliers. Over long term, you will monitor risk, whatever, right? Then you come into transactional side. You create a catalog which has, let's say, 20 different catalog items, right? And all of them has contracted pricing, right? And then what's going to happen is users will shop those 10,000 laptops over 5 years, different kinds, into guided buying interface or UI, where you will see what you will see pictures of laptops, specs of laptop, any pretty nice commercial website look and feel. Right, so that's end to end. This is what Ariba tries to do for you. But of course, you got to pay the vendor as well, right? For that, Ariba does have a module called invoice management, right? Ariba invoice management module, and this, as the name says, this module aims to streamline the invoicing process within a buying organization. Supports, I would, no, I will not use word support. It stands out because is it has native integration, SAP Business Network or Ariba Network. Invoice management module streamlines the invoicing process. Right? Invoicing process is what? You bought something, somebody has to pay for it, you get a bill and you pay the bill. So, but it's not as simple as that. Again, we're talking about B2B. There could be approvals, there could be discrepancies in pricing, right? And there might be validations needed for receiving and all that. And I didn't mention that buying module will support your receiving functionality as well, and service entry sheet functionality as well, right? And from there, invoice will come in and it's going to try to do a three-way match, right? So the goal is to support the three-way match so that supplier ABC can be that's invoice management. Now all these are modules from Ariba, right? The Ariba doesn't support payments, by the way, right? You will get invoice, you got to pay the invoice, but payment is not happening in Ariba. Reason is we're talking about large organizations, right? We're not talking about mom and pop shops, right? And large organizations typically have an ERP system, which have the financial module, right? So that's why payment is, or the payment run is going to happen in the financial module. Hence why payment is not done in Ariba, but the payment request is sent by Ariba invoicing module to the ERP system. So it's an integrated process. We will look into it as well, right? Um, so these are the modules in Ariba. which we will cover. And there is also the middleware, which I just mentioned. It's called CIG formerly, and now it's called Gateway. That's a new name for it. Middleware has number of standard out of the box interfaces between Ariba modules and SAP. Support plug and play approach between Ariba and SAP. This is the middleware we will look at into it. What are the various steps in configuration, and also we will look into the various scenarios which can happen and so on. Lastly, there is something called SAP Business Network or Ariba Network. This is not a module, or you can even call it a module. So this is portal for suppliers. See, ERP systems typically do not have anything for a supplier to do, at least not standard, right? But Ariba has always thought suppliers are very, very important for us because procurement is all about working with suppliers, right? So they have very early on, they started giving attention to suppliers before anybody else could even think about. So they have currently this portal has more than 3 million registered suppliers that are working many buyers to support approximately, I think it's $1 trillion per year USD um, transactions. So this is a very big benefit as well for Ariba, which I probably should have mentioned early on, right? Like why clients implement Ariba, SAP Business Network. Third point, very, very big benefit of having Ariba. So this business network or Ariba network, which has many suppliers, is going to interact with the SLP module, with the contracts module, with the sourcing module, with the risk module, with the buying module, invoice management module. Basically everything in Ariba or every single module in Ariba, right? It has some sort of integration with the Ariba network or SAP Business Network. So when a client implements Ariba, they will see that, hey, so many suppliers are already on there. That's a big plus point for us. We don't have to worry about our key suppliers which are already using Ariba network. That's typically the reaction they give when you work with them for implementing this solution. I think this is basically the overview I wanted to give you guys at this point. Iraj, I think unless you want to add something, we probably can start taking questions.
Yeah, sure, Manish. Yeah, it was a nice session. Okay, guys, whoever are having any queries, so please raise your hands, or you can unmute yourself and start asking your queries. Yeah, you can unmute yourself. Every one of you are unmuted, so you can unmute from your end and start asking the questions.
Yeah, hi Iraj. Hello Manish. Good evening.
Yeah, mom. Yep.
This is Mohammed.
I'm
Basically, I'm an integration architect for one of the MNC company. So I have two questions. First one is related to like a customer point of view. Customer will have many procurement solutions like is not fully procurement, but they have procurement solutions like MM, SRM, and uh, you know.
For HANA sourcing and
Uh,
procurement also.
yeah. Different procurement solutions they have already in place. They are using since long time. But why Ariba? So if they implement Ariba, the customer implement Ariba, it's really gonna give ROI and ROT for the customer. So how we can give our best example or best suggestions to our customers to implement Ariba. Just I want to know more about this point so that we can suggest our customers to implement Ariba in their organization.
Yeah, a great question, Mohammed. I think if we just look at what we just said, client will have, let's say, your SAP for HANA, right? It does have sourcing. It has transactional contract. It lets you create suppliers. It lets create your PRPO. But these modules are very, very detailed in terms of what they can do. Of course, unless you understand what these modules do in detail, probably you cannot say that with great confidence, right? So S- um, SAP is going to let you create, let's say, a sourcing, right? RFQ. Right? It won't let you create RFX though. Right? So what's going to happen is your client will not have an option of creating RFX in a system. They will do that in, let's say, a Word document or an Excel file. Right? Over time, what's going to happen is, depending upon how big the volume is, they will have a tough time tracking what's what. Right? They will have a lot of resource overload. Again, depending upon the volume of RFXs. Uh, they will spend a lot of time in managing that data itself. It's going to be hard to report. It's going to be hard to go back and see what was happened in the past. It's going to be hard to support audits. Right? This is where, if you have a solution that is already there, which supports all these things in a very nice and mature manner, this solution is just going to help them out. So this is one example. Similarly, there is other modules. They have their own benefits. Does it
So,
help, Aman?
Manish, yeah, my
Yeah,
point is like, is it really gonna help customer if they implement Ariba, even though they have the other procurement solution like EAMS or MMM other modules? So,
Yes, it will
how we
help.
can give a best suggestions and solutions? So, if they implement Ariba, definitely they will get understand that there are some. It's Ariba is completely a e-procurement cloud solution.
Right, right.
It has a full features and functionalities for procuring for any large companies uh, so that they can get more benefits in terms of buying because of we have very large network in Ariba buyer network.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that
Yeah.
is the
So
point.
yeah, yeah. In your
But
question, the answer is there. Yeah, it is a very good point. Actually, I was about to tell the same thing. So SAP Ariba network is a very huge network. It's one of the very biggest network in the world, having almost 4 million suppliers already there. So there is no need
correct.
to go for the suppliers separately and look out for them. Okay, so already a lot of suppliers already there. So when you are connecting to the suppliers, and it's going to be very easy for the suppliers also, interacting with the spend management people as well. So there is a lot of easiness over there. And Ariba is coming with a cloud solution, as you said very rightly. And the licensing part is here very flexible over here. If somebody wants to go only with the upstream sort of licensing, they can go only upstream. Even SLP's licensing also they are giving it. And different regions, their licensing policies are different, so they are encouraging to use SAP Ariba, and they are going to implement AI related features in very soon. It's there in the roadmap, and I think, Manish, it is already been started, right? AI features in SAP Ariba as
In
well.
Yes. So in
AI with Ariba.
there are some things which we'll look at. They are, I would say, there is a bit of AI in them. Yeah.
Yes, you are right. So there are multiple reasons you can give. If you are talking with respect to the business perspective and you are trying to convince any client, so there are multiple reasons you can give them. Like, it's a cloud solution, easy implementation, no need to maintain any hardware, and no need to maintain the resources to have the hardware look out properly for that. So that is one of the cost saving factors, and the licensing also is one of the cost saving factor. And there is no need of any enhancement over here. Like if you want to go for a normal thing, what I can say, like if you are implementing ECC site, okay, if you want to go some out of the box features which
So,
is not there in
sorry,
SAP, so you are going to, yeah,
sorry for
yeah,
interrupting you.
no problem,
These
yeah,
are
yeah, yeah, no
generic,
problem.
features that we can explain to any customer, but if the customer is asking more about the ROI and
Hmm.
ROT. Let's say if they implement Ariba, even though they have and other procurement solutions, so how they are going to get benefited? That is my
No,
point.
these are the beneficial points which we are discussing, trying to discuss over here. If you're talking about ROI, return on investment, so of course you see, like if it's a fresh customer, it's a greenfield project. So you see, one thing is there, we cannot deny, like there cannot be totally independent Ariba. There is no means, like there can be, but if it's a very big organization, there must be an ERP solution. You agree
Okay.
with me, right? So there must be an ERP
Yeah.
solution. So whichever the things you're talking about, SAP site, so it's a part of an ERP, so we can't deny it. But you see, going forward, like SAP is having multiple solutions for multiple products for the same solution, I can say. It has
Correct. Correct.
SRM, and SRM they are going to
Exactly.
make it absolute anyhow. So SRM
Yeah.
totally going to be absolute in 2027 for sure. Okay, so all the projects in SRM are going to be migrated to SAP Ariba. Okay, and going
Yeah.
further, it's having a very strong development roadmap in SAP Ariba. So a lot of features there, whichever are available, redundant features, so they are going to pull out from there, and they are going to made it available on only in Ariba. So going in future, definitely Ariba is going to be the sole procurement solution. It's like I'm thinking in my perspective, and there are development roadmap is also there in the same fashion. So
Yeah.
these are the
You
major
rightly.
points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You rightly said. I agree with you. Yeah. I got my answer. I'll connect with you later on this
Yeah, you
scenario.
can connect with me. It's a very long discussion, I can say.
And
We can't
yeah. Yeah.
discuss
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Correct.
many
Correct.
features, so
So
many
I think
things are
I think
there.
we
So
should
there are multiple things. Yeah.
respect other times as well. My second question. So I'll
Thank you so much for understanding.
last second and last question.
Yeah.
So we have two middlewares when integrating with Ariba with S4. CIG and CPI both are there. So in which scenario we can use CIG and in which scenario we can go with CPI? This is my second question and last question.
Yeah, CAG you will use in all scenarios. CPI you will use when there is multiple ERPs involved. So it's
Okay.
going to be
I mean,
CIG plus CPI when it is multi-ERP.
because if we use both middlewares, I think we should not. Is it a recommended solution by SAP or
It is recommended by
we
SAP,
can
yes,
use
exactly.
anyone?
It is recommended. So CIG you will have in all solutions, like in all integrations between SAP and Ariba.
Mhm.
CPI you will use only when there is more than one instance of SAP.
So I mean to say CIG is for point-to-point integration.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Manish. I have got
Welcome, Thomas.
the answer. Thanks for your
Yeah,
time and demo. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks
Thank you
for
so
the
much. Yeah.
questions.
Those were very great questions. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate. Yeah, guys, please come up with the questions. Anybody else? Hello? Yeah, Kanakaya.
Yes, I have. Sorry, my mic is different. I
Yeah,
have
noise on your.
two. Yeah, yeah, now clear, right? I have three questions actually. Like, what is the different ECC sourcing and Ariba strategic sourcing? What is the strategic?
Right, right. So ECC has RFQ process, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it doesn't have RFX process,
Okay,
like
that is
request for
the only
proposal.
difference. Okay,
Yeah, let's say that's the only difference. Yeah. Of course, there is
strategic
Ariba
means
network.
RFX sourcing, nothing but a strategic sourcing.
RFX
What is
source.
the
Of course, it begins with some like looking at your data, at your requirements, at your history as well. So there is more to just see. You can have a Word document which is RFX, right? But there is more
okay?
details in terms of the functionality, which is why it's called strategic sourcing, right?
Okay,
Also, there is also we said that there is business network, right? There is that native
Okay.
integration with the business network as well, which ECC will not have for the RFQ process, right?
Okay. Okay. There is one more like Ariba buying and guided buying. What is the difference?
So guided buying is a relatively newer UI, right?
Okay.
This is just a UI. Guided buying is a module. Sorry, buying is a module in which there is many features like catalog management, the UI called guided buying, approval processes. Receiving happens this module as well. So you can see buying is an equivalent of MM for Ariba. So this is equivalent of
Oh,
MM, like
okay.
TR process,
What is the
PO
different
process.
catalog management and guided buying? Both are same, right?
Catalog management is a function in which you are able to manage the catalogs, like
Okay.
items, descriptions, pictures, and all that. Guided buying is the end user facing UI.
Okay.
This is not a UI. This is, you can say, a feature in which you will load a bunch of data, manage a lot of data, right? This is an interface which the end users will see.
Okay. Okay. What is spend management in Ariba? I didn't see anything in MM side spend management.
So collectively, Ariba is, I mean, it's different terminologies which are being used broadly. BNI, when you log into BNI, the browser shares Ariba Spend Management. At some point, the all the solutions at which we are talking about, they were called, they are all spend management solution. Right now, this word is also still being used. So it's a word which is being used for, it's not a module. You can say it's a keyword some of the people in the industry use, that Ariba Spend Management is a solution, but basically it means various modules in Ariba.
Okay, spend management is one of the module, right?
It's not a module. It's basically, you can see Ariba is also called Ariba Spend Management.
Oh, okay. Any equivalent word in MM side for the spend management?
MM is like, right now it's being called sourcing and procurement, right?
Okay.
Probably
Okay.
you can say that's an equivalent word.
Spend management. Can we see any reports for that, or like it's just like a what's a module Ariba like?
I can
It's
say
just,
like spend management
yeah,
is just like a conceptual things. Okay,
it's a
so
conceptual thing.
sourcing
Yeah.
and in short, I can say spend management is collectively sourcing and procurement. Just for your
Oh,
understanding, I can say.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
the spend
And one more
management is
question.
mostly related with the buyer only, buyers,
Oh,
buyer side.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. There is one more final question actually. Like, can we move that all ECC like transaction to Ariba? Like, what we call that one is guided buying, or like it's
No, we said here like Ariba is for casual procurement, indirect procurement, right? So
okay,
whenever you have transactions for inventory, right?
okay,
Like your stock materials, you're running MRP, it's spitting out
okay,
transactions. All those you probably don't want to move to Ariba because Ariba doesn't support inventory management.
okay. It will support all types of procurements, right? Like the consignment
No,
procurement,
it doesn't.
support
So
order.
it's for consumables. You can say it's for consumables. That's an easy way to look at it. There is always an account assignment that is being used. So no special procurement and no inventory management.
Oh, okay, just procurement only. There is no special procurement. There is no inventory also, right? Okay, just
Yes, correct.
purchasing. And, okay, there
Just
is no
purchasing
special like.
with the cost object.
Basically a kind
Okay,
of
okay,
service procurement here.
Service, but also goods. Like as we said, laptop is a physical good. Similarly, office supplies are physical goods. But in SAP, you call them consumables, right?
Right.
how
So only
we
indirect, no
differentiate?
kind of
Yeah, how
you
we
carry.
differentiate like that procurement in Ariba to SAP? Like when we create in backend SAP, also will create the same document, right? We'll just
Y-
create a material or service. We can mention.
Yes, you will have a different document type for Ariba POs to distinguish
Okay,
between the SAP POs that Ariba. Let's say your standard document type for PO is NB, you'll have like Z and B, for example, for Ariba POs.
okay. There is one more question. Like, what is a commerce automation? I heard about in commerce
Yeah,
automation is more.
right.
Yeah.
So remember we said that if you go at the bottom, we talked about Ariba Business Network, which has 3 million suppliers, 1 trillion transactions. So what SAP
Okay.
said is that Ariba has such a big network. So they
Okay.
renamed it to SAP Business Network. It's not called Ariba Network anymore, right? So,
Okay.
but what they also said is that how about your MRP POs, like your stock POs, also go to the Ariba network to the supplier.
Okay.
And so what they did is they made some changes on their SAP system for which you can do some configurations which will support PO transmission from SAP directly to Ariba network. Not it's
It
not
will
out of the
not go to
box.
buyer network. Do not go to
It will
buyer
go to
network,
buyer.
right?
It will go to buyer net. Buyer, no, not buyer network, supplier network. So SAP Business Network is a supplier network. It's not a buyer network. So that's where
Okay.
suppliers will log in. So when you say buyer network, what did you mean?
It's like where we are guided buying, where we are doing a procurement process.
No, it won't go there. It will go
Okay.
directly.
Directly.
So it's going to basically go from SAP S/4HANA to the SAP Business Network, where already there is like 3 million suppliers. So they don't have to wait for your email, which will have an attachment, which SAP supports as one of the output methods. It's going to go directly in the portal.
Okay. Got it. How the data will move from ECC to S4, like through CAG only, this direct buyer
Yes.
network
Yeah. CH is the middleware for anything Ariba.
to any buyer network, right? That commerce automation will support CAG only, right?
Correct.
Guided buying also same CAG only.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I got
Welcome.
clear answer for each question. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Kanak.
Thank you.
Good question.
Yep. So, guys, anybody else, please open up your mics and ask the queries.
Aras, can you give the
Yeah,
overview like how many days will take this question? What time can you give on this?
Okay, so the course is starting from tomorrow only. Okay, tomorrow we have the first session, I hope. Yeah, so tomorrow all of you can attend the first session as well. So we are going to the usual timings are only on the weekends because Manish is working and everyone else also working. Most of our attendees are working professionals only. We don't take any freshers as well. So most of the participants either they are just start working in SAP Ariba or they are having good experience in or S4 HANA side or any procurement background side. So we have planned this course only on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. That's going to be 7 p.m. IST to 10 p.m. IST. Okay, so 3 hours on Saturday and 3 hours on Sunday. So 6 hours. So the course duration would be approximately five weekends. So total duration in terms of number of hours, if I say, is going to be 40 to 45 hours. Depends upon the questions we are, the participants are going to ask. And all the sessions which you are attending also going to be recorded. The live sessions with all your questions and everything going to be recorded. Indeed, today's session is also being recorded and is going to be shared with everyone else. So all the sessions will be recorded and shared to you, and we'll be giving 2 months of server access as well. So that is very important. You need to practice more in order to get good grip in SAP Ariba site. And there are a lot of supportive documents also we are sharing to everyone. And there will be a lot of things like we will be creating the WhatsApp group among all the participants as well. After about to finish the course, we are creating the WhatsApp group. And whenever there are the opportunities for job, so definitely we'll be posting in that particular group as well. Did I answer your question?
Yes, Aras, clear. Yeah, clear.
Yeah. So is there anything else, sir?
yeah. Hi, Manish. This is Uday. I have a
Hey,
few
Uday.
questions. Can I
Yes.
go ahead? I have noticed that you called few models of the of Ariba immature. What do you mean by that?
Immature? No, I didn't say
Immature or mature?
immature.
I don't find it. Yeah.
Oh, I
Just
see.
go
I
up.
see. So what I was saying is, yeah, I mean, this is just my view. Of course, some people might have a different view. What I was saying is,
No, no,
if you
I
look in,
understand, but I want to know why.
yeah, why, of course, right.
I just want to
So
know why you say that.
yeah, we took one example like SAP has the RFQ process, right? You can create RFQ, then you can manually enter your codes in SAP. Right? It
Okay?
it's very tactical. It's for very unique particular need. It doesn't have ability to support the RFX process. in which RFX is entered, created in a system and sent directly to suppliers, where suppliers can directly respond to you, right? So that's where I was coming from. SAP is lacking on um, sourcing functionality which Ariba provides. Or I
Okay.
think I used the word immature there when I said it's lacking some features which Ariba has.
Okay, I got it. Well, I don't know if you know it, but I think last week Ariba already made a statement. It gave out a news, right, where it said that all the procurement modules which they have, in any form of S4 HANA or anything, they are going to bring them to SAP procurement portfolio, the total portfolio into SAP Ariba. It already made a statement.
See, there is many, I would say there is something in the news all the time going on, right? I mean, don't get too mixed up, right? I work in Ariba
Oh, no,
projects,
no,
guys,
no, no,
SAP
no, no. I
projects.
actually got it from
I know what's happening in
I
the
got it
market.
from the SAP server. I
Sorry, what
got it
was the
from the SAP
news?
server. I have an official. If
Okay,
you
so
could
what's
let
the
me
news?
share me the screen, I can directly show it to you.
No, just
It
tell
will
me.
be
I'll
easy for
just
everyone.
I'll just Google it myself. What is it?
Okay, SAP, it says, SAP Ariba is a feature of procurement. Okay, it gave a public statement, SAP itself, right? It says, we are bringing all the different elements of SAP procurement portfolio into the SAP Ariba brand. So the
So,
name,
guys,
as a
okay,
procurement leader, where it is only
right, right,
name
right.
you need to know. Just as
Exactly. So
so
it's
they are bringing
basically branding, you
everything.
can say. It's all they're trying to do. SAP is a big company, guys. They have like different solutions out there. There are success factors, Concur, blah blah blah. I think they have been working hard to just brand themselves so that it's easy for their customers to understand. So this is one of the efforts. Okay, it's
Manish,
all it says
Okay.
is
just to add to his question, like Ariba is also they are going to add many solutions, but at the same time they introduce this one SAP CX customer services. So where they bring all Ariba C4C, this hybrids, everything they put into CX now. It's
which
a
is
kind of
great,
platform.
right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
easy
yeah,
for
it's a kind of
customers to
platform.
understand what they're doing, right?
Correct,
Because
correct.
customers do
Similar
get
to DT.
confused sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why you were coming from why this, why that. You have so many things, right? Yeah, agreed. So yeah, that's a good point. Thanks for sharing the news with us. I think I probably missed that news. Probably.
I have a couple of questions more. Okay, what
Please.
is the difference between transactional data and master data management? Okay, I
Okay.
understand the overall picture, but I want to know how it is done. Where the transactional data comes into the picture here.
Yeah, so if we think about supplier, right? You will create one
Hmm.
supplier, you will use it for probably 5 years. If we talk about our company ABC, right? So in this case, your company ABC is your master data of type supplier, but you will create POs for them, let's say every day. And over 5 years, you will probably have 10 different POs, right? And what does that mean?
Hmm.
All that PO is an individual document in itself.
Okay,
Does it make sense? And that is transactional data.
okay, okay. Individual, the PR, the contract workspace, everything, all the individual documents, yeah, they become the transactional data.
Correct, correct. Yeah. So I just
Okay.
just guys give me a
Uh,
second. I think Araj has
and
some challenge. Yeah.
yes,
Give me just one
and
second.
can we access Ariba network?
Yes,
Let's say,
please.
for
Sorry.
example, you say Ariba
Yeah.
network is quite. You said that Ariba network is quite big. Okay,
Yes.
and I want to access a supplier directly from the Ariba network. Can I do that? Or
Of course.
normally, as of what I understood, the SLP module is something we have to go speak to the supplier directly, right? With out of the Ariba module, then we have to try to bring him into the network if he's not already in the
I
network.
see. I see. That's a
If
good
he's in the
point,
network,
actually.
everything is
Understand your
yeah.
question. It's a good question. See, let's say if I want to create a Facebook account or Twitter account, I'll just go there, I'll sign up,
Mhm.
right? So I don't need any
Yeah.
invitation to do that, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
for Ariba network, I need at least a PO from a buyer, or I need some request for
Mhm.
like SLP as you mentioned, or from some other module.
Mhm.
So I need something to begin to create an account.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if you don't
I
have
understood.
any
Okay.
any
My
any of these
my question is,
documents, yeah,
my question is, let's say, for example, I'm looking to buy a specific product which I cannot source anywhere from my immediate market. Okay, so
Mhm.
can I search for that? Can I search for a specific supplier over the network?
Yeah, for that we talked about sourcing module. Sourcing module has a feature called Ariba Discovery, right? So that's a part of
Okay.
Ariba network. It's still part of Ariba network in
Uh,
terms of the architecture, but it's a different place or a different URL, you can say. It's called Ariba
okay.
Discovery, which will have all these 3 million suppliers. So there is a way you can actually post your introduction to your RFX on the discovery so that your prospect suppliers can see, and it sends notifications and all to the matching suppliers as well. So that matchmaking feature as well is there in Ariba called Ariba Discovery.
Okay. And one more thing, I want to make a statement saying that, Ariba is actually pushing all the strategic buying only to the guided buying. From the future, hopefully very soon, there will be no concept called buying, only guided buying.
See, they will brand it as guided buying, but guided buying doesn't work without buying, right? In order for
Yeah,
it to
of
work,
course.
you need the foundation, which is your buying, right? Anyways, that's a long
Exactly.
story. If do you have any other questions, Ravi? I think some other people want to probably speak up.
Yeah, yeah, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. Those were very good questions. I think who else wants to ask?
Yeah. You said Ariba supports mainly for indirect procurement.
Are
So
you
if in
buyer
case,
buying? Yeah,
yeah,
supports indirect.
right. So in case of a direct procurement, like where material involves, are there any such kind of scenarios that happened where Ariba supports it in integration with SAP?
Yeah, as we said, sourcing RFX, right? You need to
Hmm.
get your um, RFP out for your materials. Yeah, it supports that as well. Material master can be used for sending those RFP out with integration of the material master.
I mean, on the downstream side, creation of purchase orders, kind of different other procurement scenarios,
Yeah, of course,
subcontracting,
those
etc.
those transactions are integrated to SAP. That's what you meant? Or did you mean
Yes,
use material master and
yes. Like
transaction?
no, uh, on the transactional front, I mean to say, a PO got created with
In
material,
Ariba?
then it should
No,
get
no, no, no.
reflected or transmitted to Ariba.
So the thing is, the concept of material master, as I was saying, that material master concept is for SAP. You can do subcontracting, you can do consignment, you can do inventory management through MRP. Those concepts are in SAP. You don't buy for material master using guided buying. Guided buying is for, you can say in SAP language, it's for free text.
Okay, which
Okay.
means it is not
Yeah,
possible in Ariba.
correct.
Okay, that's it from my end.
Uh, one thing I want to, highlight one point here. Ariba is not an ERP solution that we need to keep in our mind. And most of the time, the people who are coming from, MMR, S4HANA, sourcing and procurement, they will be, having a little tougher time than those who are freshly coming in here. Because they are, we always say like you need to unlearn few of the concepts here. Okay, if we keep on always comparing the concepts with Ariba, that's not really going to be satisfying you. I can't say it's difficult, but it's not satisfying. Oh, this thing is there in this one, we can do so many good things in side, but we have a lot of restrictions here kind of. And even we can't do any enhancement also here, because you can't make a developer to sit and do our work as per our business requirements. No, here no. So you need to raise an again, okay, enhancement request to SAP Ariba. That cost a lot, and it's solely in their hands, like they want to approve it or not. So there are few of the things, but overall if you see, Ariba is a right now it's a very matured solution, I can say. Yeah. Any more questions, guys? Hello, is there anyone wants to ask any questions?
One more, Eras. Yeah, buying and guided buying is same, right? I little bit confused actually here in this buying and
You see,
guided buying.
like SAP is basically, if you see, if you are a SAP consultant, you might have came across. SAP is good in changing the naming conventions. The concepts are
Correct.
going to be very similar. Like they want to make it so complicated with the names. So Shakespeare says like what's there in the name, but here SAP always, keep on focusing on the different terminologies, different names.
Correct.
They have the marketing strategies. So with the same name, with the same almost the same functionalities, they add only 5 or 10% more functionalities in that one, and they'll come up with a new fancy name to make the people to think like, oh, this is something great and this is something, and they explore those things, they portray in a very different way in the tickets and all those things. All of us knows
Okay.
about it. So don't go with the names, and almost the same I can say. So as Manish said very rightly, so without buying is the base. So where the guided buying is coming here, right? So something like this. So there is no much difference in there.
Both are same, right? We any different process for buying and guided buying? No, right?
Process
Here
wise there
we will.
are differences. Yeah, process wise there are little differences, so that we are going to see in the sessions all together, but the
Okay.
conceptually if you're saying like same, I can say same. Yeah.
Okay. 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 Fine. Buying and invoicing is nothing but a guided buying, right?
For now, I think that's what you can say. Yeah. Until we go into details, then you'll see exactly what.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Clear, Manish. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. Anyway, we're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
see.
I think it's we can speak like for 5 minutes on same thing, but you probably won't understand that until you see it.
Yes, yes.
Oh.
It's a very fine line between them. It's a very
Okay.
fine
Okay.
line between them.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
somebody new, it can be very confusing.
Yeah. So but
Little
once you
bit
are going through the
confusing.
complete training and all, so it will be very clear. Once you do the practically how the things you are achieving over there, you'll have a clarity on that. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Got it. We'll see in that one later. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Thank you.
right. All right. Most welcome, sir. Okay, guys, is there anyone else who has the questions to ask? By the way, very good questions in today's session. I really appreciate every one of you, and all of you are having very good understanding in procurement side. So that's going to be very interesting discussion over here. And guys, in our sessions also, the same way we'll be following it. Like the discussion is going to be very healthy here because most of the participants are going to be very experienced one, and they are sharing their even their project experiences as well. And Manish is sharing his project experiences, like all the concepts scenario based we are going to drive in for this particular course. So that's going to be very interesting going forward. So guys, is anybody else any questions? Any
Will it
questions, like
cover
it's not
any
necessary.
project, any end-to-end project errors? Like we can handle any new implementation right after this course?
You see end-to-end project, because I'll just give you a very simple scenario because this question is very oftenly asked. Okay. You see, like 4 resources working in Ariba project, end-to-end project I'm talking about. So it will take approximately 18 to 20 months to finish it out. Okay. Right from requirement gathering, blueprint, like then after that, the implementation, then testing and go live, and all these processes will take at least 18 months. Right. So this 18 months, how we are going to confine it into 5 weeks? We can't do that one,
Huh.
right? And
I just
and there are a
lead
lot of
high-level
things.
topics. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That is, you see, like for example, I'll just give you a very simple example. Like we are talking about, for example, um, anything like sourcing or approval process, let's say. Okay. Approval process, there are different multiple layers of approval processes are there. So these approval processes, we are going to discuss how these things, how a scenario, we are going to create a scenario over there. Okay. So in actual your project, so what kind of scenarios may come over there? So based on that, we are going to discuss the scenarios here, and we are going to do the configurations based on that. So it means like you are going to have a project touch. Is not 100%. If I'm saying 100% end-to-end project implementation training, nobody can give. Okay. Nobody can give. So that's not really
Yeah. Yeah.
possible, but there are a lot of scenarios will be discussed during the training, which will help you once you are onboarded on any project. So you'll be having a lot of confidence on that one. So yeah, these things already I came across. I have seen, not in a very deepest level, but at least in a handleable level, I can say you can do it. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
that confidence I can give you. Yeah. Yeah, guys, is there any more questions? All right, then if nobody is having any queries, so we can wind up the session, Manish.
Yes, let's do that. Let's meet tomorrow.
All right, then,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you.
Really appreciate
Thank
all
you
of
all.
your participation here, guys. And I hope like the energy will be the same for tomorrow's session as well and going forward. Yeah, thank you so
Sure.
much. Really appreciate all
Thank
of
Guys,
you.
you.
thank you so much. Bye all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, have a nice time. Bye bye.